electric cars will never account for more than a third of the market. Akio Toyoda, Chairman, Toyota, he said that while BYD was preparing to sell its 4 millionth electric vehicle. For over 100 years, the global car industry followed a script. Germany built precision, Japan perfected efficiency, America scaled dominance, and for decades, that order barely changed. Until one company started breaking every rule at once, BYD. Not by building the fastest cars, not by creating the strongest brand, but by doing something far more dangerous. They made cars so cheap, so fast, that the entire industry had to react. Prices dropped, margins collapsed, competitors panicked. What followed wasn't competition. It was a price war, and in a price war, someone always bleeds. And right now, some of the world's biggest automakers are losing money just to stay in the game. At first, BYD looked like just another EV success story, a fast-growing Chinese company riding the electric wave. But then, the numbers started getting uncomfortable. In 2023, BYD sold over 3 million new energy vehicles. By 2024, that surged to about 4.27 million vehicles. And by 2025, it was targeting numbers once reserved for the world's biggest automakers. That's not growth. That's one company taking share faster than the industry can adapt. And the most disturbing part isn't how many cars BYD is selling. It's how many assumptions those sales are destroying. Now, compare that to Tesla. In 2023, Tesla sold about 1.81 million vehicles. In 2024 and 2025, growth slowed, while BYD accelerated. Tesla is still powerful, but its grip is no longer uncontested. For the first time, the company that defined the EV era is reacting instead of leading. And if Tesla is under pressure, what does that say about everyone else? Look across the world's biggest economies. In China, BYD dominates. In Brazil and Thailand, it's gaining ground fast. In Europe, it's growing, despite resistance. But then, in the United States, it's effectively blocked. In Canada, facing 100% tariffs. In Japan, barely present. This isn't just demand, it's a battle shaped by barriers. And those barriers aren't protecting the industry, they're buying it time. Which creates a split reality. In some markets, BYD looks unstoppable. In others, it hasn't even arrived. And that raises a bigger question. What happens when those barriers start to weaken? Look around. Europe's auto giants are already under pressure. Volkswagen is cutting expectations in China. Mercedes has seen sharp sales declines. Ford's EV division has lost billions. GM has slowed expansion. Factories are being reconsidered. Battery projects delayed. In Germany, the conversation has shifted from dominance to defense. To understand that shift, you have to look beneath the surface. Because BYD isn't just a car company, it's a system. Most automakers rely on suppliers. They buy batteries, they outsource components, they assemble. BYD doesn't. It builds much of the machine itself. Batteries, motors, electronics, semiconductors. This is vertical integration. And it means BYD isn't just competing with other car companies. It's competing with their entire supply chain because it gives BYD something others don't have. Control. Control over cost. Control over production. Control over pricing. While competitors negotiate, BYD manufactures. While others hesitate, BYD cuts prices. Here's what that looks like in practice. When a Western automaker orders a battery, it calls a supplier, negotiates a contract, waits months, pays a premium. BYD makes that battery in its own factory, tests it the same week, ships it at cost. Same car. Completely different economics, which means one company can profit while another loses money selling the exact same product. But there's another layer: efficiency. BYD's cars are designed for scale. Battery integration lowers cost. Standardized platforms, speed production, simplified builds reduce complexity. And now, they're attacking another barrier: charging. With technology that's dramatically reducing charging time and removing one of the biggest barriers to adoption. Because if BYD makes EVs cheaper and easier to live with, then competitors don't just have to catch up, they have to rethink everything. And the deeper you look, the less this feels like competition, and the more it looks like strategy. China didn't stumble into EV dominance, it engineered it. For over a decade, massive support flowed into the ecosystem: subsidies, tax breaks, cheap financing, charging infrastructure, battery supply chains. One estimate put total state support at over $230 billion. Now, this doesn't make BYD fake. BYD built real products, real factories, real scale, but it changes the battlefield. Because this wasn't just a company scaling, it was an ecosystem being built to win. So when BYD expands globally, it doesn't just export cars, it exports pressure. Think about this: if one system can consistently produce cheaper cars, what happens to everyone else? Look at the cracks forming. The walls are already up. But walls don't solve margin collapse, and margin collapse is already here. Some automakers are now losing money on every electric vehicle they sell, because underneath, the economics are changing, margins are shrinking, costs are rising, expectations are falling, and the entire industry is being squeezed. Growth at this speed leaves cracks. Inside China, BYD isn't racing against legacy automakers. It's racing against dozens of EV rivals, all cutting prices, all shrinking margins, all fighting for the same customer. Even BYD has faced pressure, sales volatility, profit pressure, because when prices fall fast enough, scale alone isn't protection. And then there's another signal: quality pressure. In 2024, BYD recalled nearly 97,000 vehicles. Later, over 115,000 vehicles in a larger recall, not catastrophic. At this scale, recalls aren't unusual, but when speed increases, so does the risk of something slipping through. And the question isn't whether it happens, it's whether the system catches it before the customer does. This is where most people stop asking questions, because success looks convincing, but underneath, there are risks. Consider what's already happening in Europe. BYD opened a factory in Hungary. It's building in Turkey. It's not waiting to see if barriers fall. It's building inside them. And once production moves inside your borders, competition stops being external. It becomes internal. And when a company starts manufacturing on your continent, tariffs stop being a wall. They become a tax. Because right now, some of the world's most powerful markets are also the hardest to enter: the United States, Japan, parts of Europe. If those markets stay closed, growth has limits. If they open, competition explodes. Either way, pressure builds. So, who stands a chance? Toyota still has global scale. Volkswagen still controls Europe. Tesla still has brand, software, and infrastructure. Hyundai and Kia are moving fast. And inside China, rivals are fighting hard. Toyota is betting on hybrids, betting that the world isn't ready for full electric. That might be the smartest move in the industry, or it might be the last mistake of a company that survived everything else. Tesla is betting on software, on autonomy, on a future where the car is just the hardware. BYD is betting they don't have time to get there. And that's the real conflict. One side is racing toward the future. The other is trying to survive the present. But they all face the same problem. If BYD makes the market cheaper, everyone must survive on less. And that changes everything. The problem is, if this system breaks, someone pays. Employees, layoffs, suppliers collapse, competitors disappear. Entire regions lose industries, because disruption at this level doesn't just create winners, it creates fallout. BYD didn't just build an empire, it built a machine that forces everyone else to dismantle theirs. The price war isn't coming, it's already here. And in a price war, someone always bleeds. But this time, it might not be just one company, it might be an entire industry being forced to survive on less or disappear. If you want to understand how industries collapse in real time, subscribe to Empire Implosions